This story happened to me in early 2021. I never thought I would experience something that made me question logic, reality, even my faith. It all started with my old friend, Sarah. I met Sarah back in 2017 when I worked at a small office in Banjarmasin, a city in Indonesia. We weren't just co-workers. We were good friends. She lived with her parents in a quiet suburban neighborhood not far from the city center. Their house was modest, but well kept. In 2018, I got married, and not long after, I had a baby. I quit my job to focus on motherhood. My life slowed down, became simple. My days were filled with feeding, cleaning, and watching my daughter grow. Around the same time, Sarah got married too. As fate would have it, her husband came from a village close to mine. We were excited to live near each other again. Then things took a dark turn. While Sarah was 8 months pregnant with her first child, her mother passed away suddenly. It was unexpected, a sickness that came out of nowhere. A month later, Sarah gave birth. As a close friend, my husband and I planned to visit her at her family home in the city. Our daughter was about 2 years old at the time. When we arrived at Sarah's house, something strange happened. The moment we stepped into the front yard, my daughter began to cry. Loud, panicked crying. She didn't want to go inside. I assumed it was just anxiety or discomfort with new surroundings. I picked her up and carried her into the house, but she wouldn't stop crying. The whole time we were there, she kept squirming in my arms, looking around the house nervously like something had scared her. She didn't have the words to explain it, and I didn't think much of it. At least, not yet. A few months passed. Then came another tragedy. Sarah's father died, just like that, from another sudden illness. Within 6 months, she lost both her parents. Left with no family in the city, Sarah moved in with her husband's family in the village. Her parents' house, the one we visited, was left empty. It didn't take long before Sarah reached out and said she was thinking of renting it out. My husband had been commuting long hours from our village to the city every day, and I figured this might be our chance to finally move closer to his work. Sarah's house was still in good shape. It had furniture, a bed, a fan, kitchen cabinets with plates still in them. It was a fully livable home. So I told Sarah we'd take it. She gave me the keys, and I paid the rent up front. But something just felt off. One afternoon, a few days before moving in, I took my daughter to the house just to look around and get her familiar with the place. And again, she cried. She didn't want to step inside. She grabbed my clothes and screamed. It took everything in me to calm her down enough just to cross the doorway. She clung to me the entire time we were there. I brushed it off again, trying to stay logical. Maybe she was just tired. Maybe she remembered the last time and felt anxious. Saturday came. Moving day. My husband and I arrived at the house early in the morning, around 8:30. Our daughter was with us. Again, she cried at the front yard. Same reaction, same panic. I carried her inside. After a while, I managed to get her to settle down. I brought some of her toys, her favorite books, a pillow, and her doll. She started to smile, just a little. I set her up in the front bedroom, her future room. It used to be Sarah's parents' room. I began cleaning the kitchen while keeping an eye on her. Around noon, I got hungry and ordered food. We even walked together to the nearby shop to grab some snacks. She seemed okay. When we returned, we sat together on the spring bed in the front bedroom. I was just about to eat when she suddenly turned to me and said something that made my blood run cold. "Mommy, ghost." She was pointing to the headboard of the bed. I looked at it. There was nothing there. "No, sweetie, there's no ghost," I said. gently patting the headboard. "See? It's just a bed." But her face didn't change. She turned and pointed again, this time at the wall separating the front and back bedrooms. "Another ghost, Mommy." I could feel my stomach drop. I tried to play it cool. I kept eating. I gave her my phone so she could play a video. Then she said, "Hot, Mommy." I looked at her. "The fan is on, baby. It's not hot." She touched her forehead and said again, "Hot." I reached over to feel her skin. She was burning up, but her hands and feet were ice cold, and then she vomited. Right there, all over me. I froze. The room suddenly felt darker, heavy, like the air itself changed. She pointed at the headboard again and whispered, "Ghost." I grabbed my phone and called my husband, telling him to come home from work. Now. While I waited, she threw up again, and again. Her eyes were wide, staring at a corner of the room, like she saw something I couldn't. Out of desperation, I tried calling my uncle, someone known to be spiritually sensitive. He didn't answer. I pulled out my phone and recorded a short video of the room, hoping that maybe someone could see something I couldn't. 30 minutes later, my husband arrived. We decided to leave. As we walked out, I realized I'd left her jacket and pillow in the bedroom. He went back in to grab them, but when he tried to open the door, it wouldn't budge. "It's stuck," he said, confused. "What do you mean stuck?" I asked. "I'm telling you, it's like something's holding it shut from inside." I followed him in. Together, we forced the door open. Nothing was behind it, just the same, quiet, empty room. We grabbed the items and left the house immediately. On the drive home, our daughter threw up 2 more times. We stopped at an old woman's house, a traditional healer known for treating spiritual sickness. She gave her a bath and recited prayers over her. For a moment, I felt hopeful. But even after we got home, the vomiting didn't stop. Worse, our daughter seemed to disconnect completely. Her eyes were vacant, her face expressionless. When we called her name, she didn't respond. I sent the video I had recorded to my uncle. An hour later, he replied. "I saw a woman," he said. "She's standing by the bed, middle-aged, just staring. She's wearing a white prayer robe, no expression." I felt my whole body tense. "That's not all," he added. "There's a man, pale skin, standing by the wall near the back room, and a little girl, maybe 11 years old, shoulder-length hair. She's standing in the corner, facing the wall, like she's playing hide-and-seek." I couldn't breathe. Those were the exact same spots my daughter had pointed to. I called him. He told me the house might be inhabited, a term locals use for places where spirits have claimed space. He said when people pass away and homes are left empty too long, something else might move in. He advised us to bring in a religious healer, an ustaz, if we still wanted to live there. But I knew in my heart, we would never live in that house. Our daughter was sick, terrified, haunted. We canceled the rental. I returned the keys to Sarah. She didn't believe me, but I didn't care. I wasn't looking for validation. I just wanted my daughter to be safe. That night, we didn't sleep. I stayed by her side, wiping her face as she continued to throw up and stare at nothing. The next morning, my husband visited a local ustaz known for helping people with spiritual disturbances. Before he could even finish explaining, the ustaz raised his hand. "I know," he said. "Something from that house followed your daughter. It wants her, and it won't leave without her." My husband was speechless. The ustaz told us to throw away any item that our daughter frequently held, especially something she loved. Her favorite item was a pacifier. She held it constantly, even when she wasn't using it. He instructed us to throw it into the Burrito River, so we did. He also gave us water that had been prayed over. "By sunset," he said, "your daughter will be fine." And like a miracle, after sunset, her fever vanished. Her eyes returned to normal. She laughed. She played, as if nothing had ever happened. I cried, out of relief, out of gratitude, out of fear of what could have been. We moved into a different house in the city. One day, she turned to me and said, "Mommy, no ghosts here." I smiled. I wanted to believe her. It's been over 2 years since that night. My daughter is healthy now. She's growing up fast, laughing, learning, asking questions like any other curious little kid. But every now and then, I catch her looking off into an empty corner, quiet, still, like she's remembering something she can't quite explain, and I wonder if part of her still sees the things I can't. We never went back to that house. Not once. After everything that happened, I told Sarah the truth. I told her what my daughter saw, what she felt, what my uncle saw in the video, what the ustaz said. She was quiet for a long time, and then she laughed. She said I was just being paranoid, that children imagine things, that vomiting and fevers were just a coincidence, that maybe I was projecting fear onto my child without realizing it. I didn't argue. I didn't try to prove her wrong. Some things don't need to be proven. You just know. But what she said next stuck with me. She told me she never felt comfortable in that house, not even when she lived there growing up. That there were nights when she'd wake up and find her mother standing in the hallway, just staring into the dark. She said sometimes she'd hear whispers from the back bedroom when no one was in there. She said her father once found her crying in the kitchen because she swore someone had pulled her hair when she was completely alone. Then she went quiet again, and I realized she was scared, not of ghosts necessarily, but of what it would mean if I was telling the truth. It would mean the house she grew up in, the place where both her parents died, was never just a house. It was something else, something darker. Weeks passed. We moved into a small rental near the main road, away from that neighborhood. Life returned to normal, or as normal as it could be. But something lingered. One night, I was washing dishes in our new home. My daughter was in the living room watching cartoons. My husband was out working a late shift. And then she said it again. "Mommy, the girl." I turned around. "What girl?" She pointed to the window. "There," she said. "She's looking at me." I walked to the window and looked outside. Nothing. "You're just being silly," I said gently. "It's dark. Maybe you saw your reflection." She nodded slowly, but the way she said nothing afterward made me feel like she knew I wouldn't believe her. I told my husband about it later that night. He told me to stop worrying so much, that maybe she remembered the old house and her mind was just playing tricks. But part of me couldn't let it go. I reached out to the ustaz again. I told him everything. He didn't say much at first. Then he asked a question I didn't expect. "When you brought her into that house, did you speak out loud?" "What do you mean?" I asked. "Did you say anything like, 'We're moving in,' or 'This is your room'?" I thought back. I had said both of those things. He sighed. "You may have unknowingly given permission." "Permission for what?" "For something to follow." I went cold. He told me that spirits, especially ones that have attached themselves to a place, don't like being disturbed. If someone enters and claims the space as their own, it can trigger resistance, attachment, possession even. He gave us more blessed water, told us to keep reciting prayers at sunset, to never leave children alone in dark corners, to never speak casually about ghosts around them. He said children are like open doors. Some things knock, some things just walk right in. Months went by, and then one night, I had a dream. I was back in Sarah's house. It looked different. Rotting, dusty. The paint was peeling, the lights flickered, and in the front bedroom, The room my daughter was meant to sleep in, I saw her. A woman in a white prayer robe. She wasn't doing anything, just standing by the bed, staring. And then, without moving her lips, she spoke. "You promised." I woke up drenched in sweat. My daughter was asleep beside me, peaceful. But my heart wouldn't stop racing. I told the ustaz about the dream the next morning. He said it wasn't just a dream. "Something from that house made a deal with you," he said. "A deal?" I asked. "You said she would stay there. You brought her into that room. You let her play, eat, sleep. You gave permission, and then you left. You broke the deal." "But she's just a child," I whispered. "It doesn't matter. Spirits don't play by our rules." I started having those dreams more often. Always the same woman, always staring, always silent. Sometimes I'd see the man too, the pale one by the wall. He never blinked, never moved, and once, just once, I saw the little girl. She wasn't hiding anymore. She was sitting at the foot of the bed, swinging her legs, smiling. That was the night I woke up screaming. Eventually, the dreams stopped. The ustaz performed a full cleansing of our new home. He said the spirits had finally let go, but warned us never to return to that place. I didn't need the warning. I would never set foot in that house again.